What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Suit Hunt Show. In this video, I am live on YouTube. And today, I have a very special guest joining me. It's a huge match against Chad Ochocinco on the Floyd Mayweather Paul card on June 6th. I have Brian Maxwell joining me. How you doing today, Brian?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Really excited to have you on here. We have much to talk about, like that Chad Ochocinco bout, like I mentioned. There's so many things to talk about. Before we talk about your bout, I have a couple questions here. So, growing up, who were some of your favorite athletes you looked up to?
Of course, I've looked up to Michael Jordan. That's what helped me love the game of basketball was Michael Jordan. Plus, my dad was a big Bulls fan, so I liked what my dad liked growing up. And of course, Michael Jordan I was a big Michael Jordan fan, and I was a big Mike Tyson fan, and a super huge big Muhammad Ali fan. But um, growing up too, I like Michael Vick. I like Chad Johnson. I'm a huge fanboy. Um, I like Pac-Man Jones, D'Angelo Williams, not D'Angelo Williams, D'Angelo Hall, who's one of the best corners to ever play the game too, and Champ Bailey. And I had a few more athletes that I liked growing up, but to be my favorite is Chad. You feel what I'm saying?
I mean, that's really, really cool. Somebody that you looked up to. I mean, now you're going to have a match against them in just a couple of weeks. I mean, it's like your, idol became your rival in a sense. That's just really, really cool. You know, Somebody you looked up to, and now you're going to go against him in just a few weeks. And,
Yes.
you started MMA in 2011. You've had some matches there. You've done some boxing, and you've done some bare knuckle fighting. But when did you really start getting into combat sports?
My first combat sports was wrestling. I got into wrestling as a kid, and like I said, I started wrestling in seventh grade. I had to sneak to do that because my mom was forcing me to play basketball and try out for basketball and shit like that. And I got burnt out with basketball, and I started to hate it. And I felt like I didn't belong with basketball. I didn't feel like I could do anything with it. I mean, I was good, don't get me wrong, but I just didn't want to take that path. So I grew up watching wrestling and stuff like that. And some guys that I grew up around, their mom was my homeschool teacher when I first started going to school. And they were wrestlers, and she would take me to their wrestling matches. And like that excited me as a kid. Like I'm like, man, you get to throw people, you get to basically beat another person up for without getting in trouble. But I started wrestling in middle school, wrestled in high school. I ended up being a three-time state qualifier, three-time regional placer, two-time district champion. I had over 100 career wins. And the towards the end of my sophomore years, when those college letters start coming in, and then they got more and more start coming at the end, like right there at the beginning of my senior year. And I ended up going to college to wrestle for 2 years. And I did my thing in college also. I was an All-American as a freshman. And that's what got me into combat sports, really. And I was chilling in my dorm room when I was a freshman in college, and one of my roommates, he was a super big MMA fan. He's still a big MMA fan. He's a fan of mine now. And he turned on the UFC fights, and that was before UFC made you buy the pay-per-view and stuff. And Anderson Silva was the main event, and it sparked my interest right then and there. And after I got out of college, I dabbled in life for like 2 years, and to try to figure out life. I'm a 21-year-old kid trying to figure out life and what I want to do with myself. And I ended up finding out that I had a kid on the way, and that was my point of telling myself I need to do something with myself so my child could have someone to look up to. And I finally decided to try MMA out.
That's a really, really cool story. And you mentioned, you were a big fan of wrestling. Who were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up? And was there ever a moment where you maybe thought about continuing that wrestling route instead of doing combat sports like MMA?
I like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I like Booker T. I like the old school WCW, old school WWF days and stuff like that. And I like the new school a little bit too. I'm a huge John Cena fan. Hopefully I get to meet him one day. I'm a huge fanboy of his. And, you know, I actually was, before I started MMA, I ran into some people who did, like regional wrestling in this area, and they offered me to start training with them to do wrestling. And I actually thought about doing it, and once I caught the wave of the MMA thing, I leaned towards MMA more, and I stuck with it, and it's something I'm going to do until I can't do it anymore. You feel what I'm saying? And of course, I'm going to do my bare knuckle. I'm going to keep dabbling in boxing. I've done professional Muay Thai also. I've done a lot of things, man, when it comes to combat sports now.
Yeah, I mean, looking up, some of your stats and everything, I mean, you really have done a little bit of everything. But before we talk
Yes.
about your fight with Ocho, what are your thoughts on the Floyd Mayweather and Paul bout, and what is your prediction for that match?
I mean, Floyd is one of the best boxers of all time. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, no question. And with this fight, I feel like he's going to play around with Jake Paul a little bit, and then when he feels like it's like super serious, then he's going to turn into the Floyd that we know and beat the hell out of Jake Paul. You feel what I'm saying? I see Floyd winning the fight, but at the end of the day, there's always a but. What if, Jake, clipped him and dropped him or something? Because, and in combat sports, everyone has a puncher's chance. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, obviously, Floyd Mayweather is one of the best athletes just of all time, legendary. And you think there's any chance that Paul can maybe go past the first round with Mayweather?
I feel like it's gonna. I feel like it's gonna go. I don't know how many rounds the whole fight is, but I feel like it'll go at least 5 rounds to at least that, and that's my bare minimum is 5 rounds, and then after 5 rounds, Floyd's gonna get him out of there.
That's a very interesting prediction. And, you have your bout with Ocho. Mayweather has his bout with Paul. There's been lots of celebrities trying out boxing recently. Also NBA star Nate Robinson. And it was announced not too long ago that NBA champion Lamar Odom is going to have a boxing match coming up as well. So are you kind of for or against celebrities having boxing matches?
I mean, what they're all world. Those celebrities like that are all world athletes. They're great athletes, and they were good in their profession. And if it's something that they want to try and do, more power to them. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you want to try something new, try it. You can't. You got to live life with no regrets. If you want to try it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna if you don't do it, you're gonna sit back and wonder what could you have done with it. You feel what I'm saying? So more power to them. People, it's a wave right now. People like seeing the celebrities coming in, and like I said, they're all world athletes. Some of them do good, and some of them don't. Like Nate Robinson, I give him an A for it, going in there and trying something different. He trained his ass off for it, and unfortunately, he went against someone that is better than him in a different sport that he's not good in. You feel what I'm saying?
I know lots of people, have mixed feelings, when it comes to, celebrities doing boxing. I'm not, I'm kind of between. I'm not totally for it. I'm not totally against it. But, your match against Ocho on June 6th is one of the bouts that everybody's talking about. It's pretty much the biggest draw aside from Floyd Mayweather. Paul, obviously that is the main match on the card. So how did your match
hmm
with Ocho come to be about, and how did that all start up?
I went to BKF 17 in Birmingham, Alabama, and Chad actually sent me a message telling me he needed my help with something. And at first, I didn't believe it was him until I clicked on his page, because sometimes on Instagram you get bots and fake profiles trying to sell you stuff or give you something for free and asking for your credit card and stuff. So I thought it was like a spam account, but I checked it out, and it was his real account. And I wrote him a message back, was like, I don't believe this is Chad Ochocinco Johnson. And he sent me a video of him at his daughter's track meet, and to prove that it was him, because he was like, why would I play like that? And he sent me a video And I was like, holy shit, this is Chad Ochocinco Johnson messaging me. And I end up getting busy with the fights, talking to some fans and taking pictures and signing a couple autographs and stuff. And, I didn't think no more about it that night. But, on the drive home from Alabama back to Virginia, he messages me again and sends me his number, like, call me. And, I blew it off until, the next day. And, my active manager, ended up coming to me while I was at work. And she said, I got something to tell you. And the first thing I thought was, I thought was something was wrong with my mom or my son, because I'm sitting there freaking out. I was like, is my mom okay? Is my son okay? And, she was like, yeah, I guess they're fine, but we got a big opportunity. And I was like, what? She had just got off the phone with Nate Shook, the matchmaker of BKFC, and Mr. David Feldman, the owner, the CEO of BKFC. And she's like, we got a big opportunity. You want to know why Chad's been messaging you? Well, they're offering you a fight against him. And I just was like in awe. And, after she walked away and, to go handle some more business, I end up calling Nate Shook, and, he told me it's a big opportunity. It's a win-win situation for everybody. And do I want the fight? Do you accept? And I told him immediately, yes, sir. I want the fight.
That is really, really, that's a great story. Like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Chad Johnson was somebody you looked up to. You have a chance to, go have a match against him. That's a really cool story. So how did Ocho Cinco kind of like find you? Of all the fighters, how does he contact you to have a match with?
I've talked to him on the phone, several times after I found out that I was going to be fighting him. And, he's called me and we've had phone conversations. And, he mentioned that, Jorge Masvidal mentioned my name to him, and that, the Floyd Mayweather management team mentioned my name. And I still have no idea how they even know who I am. Like I'm still flustered and trying to wrap my mind around it. Like, it's crazy to me, but they I guess, they got my name in their mouth, so I must be worth something. So, we're here now, all contracts and medicals and all that good jazz to get the fight going is done. And, we got 2.5 weeks till fight time.
Yeah, absolutely cannot wait for that bout on June the 6th. And, everybody's talking about, this match between you and Ocho. Ocho's never had a match before. So how do you prepare against somebody who has never had a match before?
I'm preparing like I would normally prepare for any fight. Nothing has changed. I've stepped my game up a little bit more, just for the simple fact that, like I've told everyone, I followed this man's whole career from day one. He's had boxing, training, conditioning to stay in shape for football during the off season. And, I'm going into this fight like I would any fight, well trained and ready to fight. Nothing has changed except for me wanting it that much more to be able to fight. My idol has now become my rival. I've been putting that in the hashtag on all my social media, and I'm coming in here ready to fight. It's going to be a banger, and I'm ready to get this win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was able to see some of your matches the other day, but as someone who has not seen some of your matches, can you kind of describe your style of boxing?
I mean, I haven't been. Of course, I've done bare knuckle, so I've really gotten heavy into doing, more boxing now. As in before, when I was doing MMA and Muay Thai, I was doing Muay Thai training and MMA training. I wasn't really doing, planning my game to throw boxing in there at all, because boxing hands and MMA hands are two totally different things. But when you put them together, it's a super lethal weapon. And for the past 2 years, I've been super heavy on boxing now, and I love it. I'm getting better each and every time. I'm getting that 1% better each and every time I hit the boxing gym, and sparring. I'm sparring more than I ever have before, and I've seen results. Like, my results have tremendously grown, even from my last bare knuckle fight in September of 2020. My boxing skills have grown tremendously. And I had my very first boxing fight, pure boxing fight ever, in February, I took a fight on 2 weeks' notice, and I end up fighting, a U.S. Olympic champion and regional champion down there in Florida, and I end up losing, but there's no excuses there. I think I'm going to end up fighting that guy again with a full fight camp, and I'm starting to love boxing a little bit. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, I mean, you've just done so many things like MMA, boxing, some other things like bare knuckle, like you mentioned. You have a chance to be on the card as legendary, on the same card as legendary boxer Floyd Mayweather. What's it like being on the same card as a legend like Mayweather?
Man, it's amazing. It's a blessing. I can't wait to meet him because he's one of my favorite boxers of all time, and I can't wait to meet him and hopefully have a decent conversation with him, and hopefully after this Chad fight, win, lose or draw, he invites me back and fight again and gives me another big opportunity.
Hey, that'd be really cool, to meet a legendary Floyd Mayweather. So I have one final question here. So what is your prediction on how you would beat Chad Ochocinco?
My prediction: I'm going to finish him in the second or the third round because the first round we got a whole good game plan for this fight. So I'm ready for anything. I'm ready for the Chad that wants to entertain, and I'm also ready for the Chad that's going to make me work to beat him. You feel what I'm saying? And when he starts to make me work to beat him, that's when I'm going to put the pressure on him and knock him out.
I mean, that's absolutely what you love to hear. You said second or third round. I'll make sure to post that, everything once you will beat Ocho in a couple weeks. Not wait for this bout. So, Brian, can you tell some of the listeners who can follow you on social media and everything?
You can follow my fighter page on Facebook, Brian Maxwell MMA Fighter, and you can follow me on Instagram at Brian Maxwell _12. So add your boy on Instagram, and they say I got a Twitter, but I've never accessed it, and I know nothing about Twitter. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm gonna look further more into Twitter because apparently I'm a trending topic on Twitter right now too. Also, so I'm gonna have to check that out. And this fight is like you said earlier, it's the second most hyped fight on the fight card. There's a title fight on the card, and I haven't been seeing nothing or nobody talking about it. Everybody's talking about the Floyd and Jake Paul fight and me versus Chad fight, and it's trending. I got a notification. Well, I got an email from Facebook that said that I've been trending on Facebook for the last 7 days. Well, 5 days. It was 5 days when they emailed me, and I'm still shocked about that.
Yeah, you were also trending on Twitter as well. You've been trending a lot on Twitter this past week or so as well. Really appreciate you, taking time in your day and everything. Good luck to your bout against Ocho on June 6th on the Floyd Mayweather Paul card. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel, I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you all next time on the Sports Dude Hines Show.